My name is Jonathan Parks, and welcome to Jonathan's Nature Crafts. I must inform you that I do not live in this house by myself, but live here with other people. Sometimes other members of the household may have to walk through areas where I might be recording with other family members on the phone. If you hear any noise like that, please feel free to disregard. We are doing our best to get noise canceling equipment, which may at least keep you from hearing exactly what is being said. Thank you for considering. Well, I came on today, first of all, and want to mention that today is Mother's Day, so want to give a happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. And I'd say that we might even just talk a little random today while we are sort of doing a little special thing we'll do today. And I'd say since we have all these gnomes and wizards, we might even go ahead and maybe paint some white on their beards while we're talking today. I'd say, like I said, sooner or later would like to get back to doing some instructional videos again, but this is just a time when we just kind of have to take care of things just the best we can. And I'd say that it's a time when we get on just to kind of share a little of what we do. And I'd probably also say that there's probably going to be more to be said over time in quite some ways, and I'll tell you all a little bit more about that as we kind of get a little further along here in the work. So that's something that kind of has its own little shares of things we say, things we do. I kind of also don't think I thought completely about the colors here too much, and I'd say there's probably going to be certain other colors we might use for the eyes of these little wizards and gnomes, because it's probably going to stand out from the eyebrows when we paint them white. So kind of have to see what it's all just going to be. I always just like to paint these little figures and show a little color in them. I know one thing for sure, that I have a lot of friends who are mothers and kind of see the things they post, and I mean, I've never been a father and don't really hope to be, but I'd say one thing for sure is that there are people younger than me who are parents, and some of these girls I see posting about, what it's like being moms, they kind of have a lot of nice, interesting things to share about it. And, the thing I always see is that there's probably one of them I follow a lot, kind of tell her about ways that in all kinds of ways she almost kind of reminds me of my own mom sometimes. And, the thing I tell you is that my parents are currently at church while I'm recording this, and I mean, I live in Lexington. They go to a church in Frankfort. My father actually serves as one of the lay ministers there, and it's, from all the things I've heard, a good church. Probably wouldn't have been the best one for me because it is pretty full. There's a lot of people there, and probably I'd say just would be kind of overwhelming for me. But I just kind of remember how our parents kind of raised us in the church, and how while my dad was up there like preaching to his congregation, my mom would be downstairs teaching us children. And always just have a lot of lessons to teach us. And there was kind of this other lady who kind of worked in the children's ministry too, who kind of helped her with that. And and I'd say that, it's like as a little kid, I'd be down in the children's church with my mom teaching, and when I got up into my teens and early 20s, I'd be upstairs in the little auditorium kind of hearing my father preach his sermons. And I mean, there were just a lot of things we learn about it. And I'll tell you that there's this one lady who, I mean, she was not only the other teacher in the children's church who helped my mom, but I tell you, she was also a Sunday school teacher to what was mainly the junior girls. And I mean, my brother was an exception. He was in that class for a lot of reasons. I mean, I was kind of, in what started out as a junior boys class, but it became a junior high class once I kind of got to be junior high age. But my mom knew that my brother and I didn't need to be in the same classroom together, and that's a whole nother story. There's just a lot of reasons for that, not too much I can really get into or really stress, but that was kind of why he was in there with them. And in a lot of ways, even though that lady never had any children of her own, she was like a mother to him. So of course, he'd always send her a Mother's Day card and kind of come on Facebook and talk about what a good mother in the church she was. Like I said, she never had any children of her own, but she could certainly be like one to certain people and all. And I mean, I tell you all that there was so much I remembered about her in church and all the things about her, and I mean, she kind of enforced the rules a little bit. I'd get a little too silly sometimes, and sometimes kind of pick on the little kids, so she'd kind of have to separate me from them a little bit. So I tell you all that this little strange things kind of happen in life and go a longer way than we really understand or really realize or want to know. So I say that of all the things that have kind of gone through my life and things I've learned and things I've taught, I'd tell you all little things about how I used to, teach little toddlers, little kids. I was kind of in my early 20s when I did that, whenever I was like a teacher to the toddlers and the babies and the kids and all, and certainly just had a lot of good lessons to teach them. I didn't realize this at the time, but my mother had told me fairly more recently that those kids really loved me, I tell you. And sometimes, just sometimes, I think about how in those days there were probably certain positions in the church I thought I'd work my way up to. There were probably a lot of other things I thought if I started out teaching babies, I'd work my way up to certain other positions. But some of these other ministries, as you find out, they require certain gifts, they require certain calling. A lot of that stuff may not have been my calling, but I tell you, one thing I find out is that, these kids, I'd say they really needed a teacher for sure. I probably couldn't always understand it that much, but a lot of their mothers who brought them to church really weren't really ready to teach themselves, and they kind of had to go to their own Sunday school classes to learn more. They probably hadn't really matured all that much in their faith, so there was just a lot of stuff they weren't ready to do. And so while they went to their own classes, they kind of needed me to teach their kids, and I'd say I could enjoy it for a certain amount of time, but then, things got a little rough here and there. Some of the places I was working just kind of got a little bit different and a little crazier than they used to be, and finally got to where I kind of ran out of the energy left to do it. So it was just kind of a whole different story as it came down to that. But all I want to say is that I congratulate all the mothers out there who are out there, you know, teaching kids, helping kids, working with their kids, and helping them get through school and everything. And I will also just say, most of all, that God's watching you and God's rewarding you, and God sees all you're doing and really appreciates what you do. So take care. Thank you for watching, and you all keep in touch. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. I hope to see you in the next video. Stay tuned.